Okay. Uh, so this is day 151. For anybody confused on why there was two videos for day 150, just think about it like this. I recorded the cardio in the morning, right? And then I posted it on the same day. But the back day, which I recorded at night, I posted the next day, just as a little clarification. So, because I took a rest day the day before. Uh, but anyway, come on. So 151, it's going to be an arm day. And I'm sure there's a lot of lifters out there whose schedules were encumbered. Right? Holiday, Juneteenth. Gyms are closing like flies, man. But, I got my trusty Planet Fitness membership, and they're open 24 hour. Right? It's hard to shut down a Planet Fitness. So, perfect timing since it's an arm day. All I'm doing is cables, a few, arm machines, and then dumbbells, which they've got it all right in there. And they're all super smooth because nobody's slamming it super loud, right? So, basic idea is going to be triceps first, then biceps. Tries is just going to be mainly push downs, dips, well, a dip machine, and that's going to be it. The push downs, I'll do a couple different variations like straight bar, maybe some rope, maybe some single arm, uh, maybe some like cross body style with two cables. There's a lot of different ways to go about it. But at the end of the day, all you're doing is taking your arm from a bent position to a straightened position with weight, right? So if for whatever reason straight bar push downs just feel like perfect, you're in the zone on them, I say just sit there and spam them. Don't move on to an extra exercise or to a new exercise if you don't think that it's gonna give you a better pump than the push downs. If the push downs just feel super good. And then, on the opposite spectrum of that situation, if straight bar push downs feel like shit, let's say maybe it's like hurting your elbow, you're just not getting a good squeeze at all, move on to something else that's going to feel better, right? Uh, Typically, I've been saying not to just follow a strict workout regimen, unless if you're a beginner and you write your workout out, you got to follow it. You're building training experience. Perfect. That's perfect. That's all well. It's like best case scenario. But as you get better at lifting, you start to get a little bit more in tune with your body, and you'll know what you want to do, what you don't want to do on any particular day, just depending on how you feel. Some days dips might feel like total shit and I don't want to do them, and other days I might sit on this dip machine for like half the workout. Just kind of just a go by feel thing. And dumbbells, biceps, again, probably going to approach it just as simply. I'm going to do a variety of dumbbell curls, some single arm cable curls, I'm sure. They have a curl machine here that I really like. It's like seated. You'll see it. And maybe a couple of drop sets, maybe some supersets now and again. Can't tell you for sure, but I can say that most of that's going to go down. So a lot of comments are asking about the shirts. Where do I get these shirts at? And for the most part, I just fucking stop at Goodwill after the gym every so often, you know. Or my mom will like give me some shirts. Perks of living at home for the summer. But a lot of them, like the oversized ones, I get the best looking ones when I get a long sleeve shirt and then I cut the sleeves at the elbow. Right? They just have a kind of a baggier look. That's what I literally cut the sleeves off of this one right before I got in the car or the basement. So, just a little pump cover tip for you from the man himself. So, nothing else to discuss. Let's just fucking go get arms started. So I fucking pulled up during the perfect storm. It's busy as fucking here. And typically if you have people in the background and you're trying to record a Planet Fitness, they're gonna kick your ass out. They're not gonna kick you out, but they'll tell me to stop recording. So I think I'll just hide in the corner and do my single arm heavy tricep pushdowns and hopefully not raise too much suspicion in the process. So I would do like a straight bar, but the stack's not heavy enough. So one arm is going to be the way to go. Honestly, I thought I was going to do another one, but that's enough. I'm going to move on to a little bit of a drop set. So I'll pre-exhaust with single arm kind of alternating, like 5 reps on the right arm, 5 on the left. Lightweight, just trying to get a really good squeeze. And then, I'll do 3 or 4 of those back and forth, and then jump onto this regular straight bar. And I should be fatigued enough where that'll feel like a lot of weight. Okay. You know what? 2 more of those. I've gone through phases of doing like just regular straight sets and drop sets like that. Like for a couple of months, a while ago, like probably a year or so ago, I would do almost every set as a drop set. So every set of triceps I would do would be like heavyweight, drop it, burn out with lighter weight. And as of late, I've been doing more just straight sets, throwing drop sets in for fun. Both are good, but the most important part is just going to be going hard. No matter what kind of set or rep scheme you do, as long as the set is hard for 8 to 30 reps, should be pretty effective. Okay. So, if you look back a couple of months when I would hit triceps, I would start off really heavy. Like I would do a set where it was like a ton more weight than this. And I would just kind of like bounce around this range of motion. It's just really down here, and that was it. And like, sure, I had a crazy amount of tension on the triceps, and I was getting pumped as hell. But, as of late, I've been trying to do a little bit more, I wouldn't say lighter, but I've been trying to get a better stretch on the triceps. That's one thing I've been working on. So let's move on to something else, I think. I think I'll do a rope drop set next. So full stack with the rope. And the weight's just going to feel heavier with the rope. It's just not as easy of a handle to manipulate, per se. But yeah, so I'll go heavy with the rope. My form will break down to the point where I can barely move. And then I'll drop the weight and just kind of burn out. Wow. Perfect. A few more of those. Yeah, 2 more of these will be good. So another thing, sometimes I'll do the push downs like with my chest real vertical upright, or I'll kind of bend over, do it more like a skull crusher. I do feel a better stretch when I bend over. Just kind of good to change it up. So I will say one thing, doing it bent over like that, I really do get a better stretch. Maybe not as much as like if I were to do something overhead like that, but that's definitely getting some blood flowing in an area it wasn't before. So 2 more something. I'll just do 2 sets of the stack with straight bar. Nothing special, no drop set. Just make sure to get a good squeeze. And another thing, when you're doing these sets with the straight bar, I'm not just trying to push directly down, right? I'm almost trying to like you see my hands. I'm not pushing just straight down. In my mind, I'm imagining bending the bar inward like this, right? And that sort of gives me a perfect cue to squeeze super hard. Okay. I'd say triceps have been sufficiently pumped. Let's go start curls. In the spirit of changing it up, I've been habitually known to start with dumbbell curls. So, may as well throw a cog in the gears. Start with some preacher curls. Sometimes these kind of fuck with me, like the handle, just that whole angle. When this handle doesn't like rotate or anything, sometimes it kind of gets me in the wrist, forearm. But this one feels pretty good. There's 2 here. There's one over there in like the open gym section, and then there's this little side one. And I like this one a lot more. It must just be some kind of difference in the angle of the handle. But I did a set of half the stack, a little more than half the stack. So after doing that whole tricep workout, my forearms are warm. A little bit of my shoulder. This whole area is pretty much warm, just from all the push downs. So all I got to do is sort of expose my biceps to some weight, and they're ready to go. So I'm not going to throw the whole stack around. 1 peg away. Still pretty heavy. So probably, I don't know, maybe 3 sets here, 3 or 4. I'll see how the first one feels. So rep number 15 for the right arm looked way harder than rep number 15 on the left. Right, and that's because my left arm's just slightly stronger in the bicep department. So rather than, hit them both with the same intensity, which for the left arm, maybe that would have been 18 reps, I'll go to failure on the weaker arm first and match the reps on the stronger arm so that the smaller one can kind of catch up, right? But the left one will still get work. You know what I'm saying? I've said this a billion times. The same sort of technique applies to leg extensions, side laterals, There's not a lot of single-sided chest movements, but you know, if you do some kind of single arm chest press, you do that too. So if a muscular imbalance is kind of fucking with you, especially if you're a beginner, that's one of the most prevalent. Maybe add in some, you know, isolation movements like that, one side at a time, or what's the word? Isolateral, whatever. But don't freak out about it too much. Like that shit'll just kind of balance out over time. You know, like even if you didn't do any of those one-sided stuff, if you're a beginner and your right bicep is just bigger, or your right forearm is bigger than the left one, for reasons unknown, I have no idea why that would be, then, you know, as you lift, you'll just start to balance out. Don't forget about it. All right, so did not record all the biceps. The main gym area was just packed. You know, I don't need to be recording like 10 people in the background or having to deal with, you get what I'm saying. That's kind of why I prefer a more empty gym. But that's more of a me problem. So all I did was I moved on and did some single arm cable curls and a seated curl machine like this. I just did like 4 sets of the single arm curl and then what, 3 of the machine. Nothing complicated. If you want to see more biceps, just go back to the last arm day or one of the last, I don't know how many, 50. Obviously I don't want to, but you know, it's not going to hurt to cut some of these short a little. So let's see what kind of pump that caused. Feels pretty good. All right, we got some beef floating up here. Check it from the back. Oh. I like having an arm pump. You got a pretty wide array of poses to do with arms. Like even doing a back pose like a front lat spread, having a fucking arm pump just make it look even better. All right. Yeah. Another thing too, kind of circling back to that talk about muscular imbalances. The same thing kind of applies to if you have specific muscle insertion that you don't love. Classic one, I hear people talk about long or short biceps, or maybe your chest doesn't like connect in the middle. I've got a little bit of a gap going on in here. One thing that kind of bothered me for a little while was my right pec is a little lower on the bottom than the left one. So when I was smaller, it was a bit more noticeable. But just as you put on more size, those little differences are just going to kind of get filled in. You know, unless you're totally fucked, where like, I don't know, you've seen some of the extreme cases. Like one guy's got this whole lower portion of his pec just gone, just never developed. But still, that dude's fucking jacked, right? Don't let that kind of shit just hold you back, man. That's fucking stupid, right? Oh, I guess I could get big, but oh man, I got short biceps. What kind of loser mentality is that? Come on. And this isn't even like me doing an overhyped, like, come on, man, just do it anyway, like motivational speech. Like, oh, in what world, like, it just seems so stupid. For the most part, if you're making excuses, if you sort of look back at it at its deepest root, you know, if you can psychoanalyze yourself that hard, it's pretty much just gonna be like, yeah, I don't want to do it. Yeah, I really don't want to. So I'll come up with an excuse to make myself feel better. I'm not saying I don't make excuses. Uh, None come to mind, but I'm sure I do. But effective Planet Fitness Arm Day, even though you only saw 3/4 of it. I'm gonna hit one more pose and go do calves, and we can. I love being pumped. All right, I'm gonna go to calves and we can get out of here and get in the fun car. All right. Another little Sam tip: don't start scrolling TikTok when you get in the car after your lift. That's a quick way to lose 30 minutes in your day, like that, like nothing. I just did that. Whoops. Not 30, but I was in the trance, as it were. So, dextrose and protein, perfect. Let's fucking slam it and roll. I bought 20 pounds of dextrose, so I should be good for a while. 20. How many kilos is that? 9 kilos. So 9 kilos. A while supply. Let's just say that. I can't do the math right now. Can't do those complicated calculations. Oh, fuck. Oh, yeah, that just hits you like a brick, doesn't it? I gotta let that settle for a moment. Oh, my God. Oh. So I would just sip on it, but I don't like it. I switched protein powders. I'm not doing that same chocolate one. So in terms of flavor, went down a little easier, but still, chugging a whole shake at once, oh, not ideal. I just made eye contact with somebody in the car next to me. Uh, so yeah, solid ass lift. Honestly, that wasn't even an insane pump for me. Um, I woke up late, didn't have a ton of meals before that lift, like a total fucking asshole. So, gonna try to eat as much as I can before bed. Get ready for what is it? Legs tomorrow. Freaking legs tomorrow. So, what else is there to discuss relating to arm training? Um, hmm, hmm, not much. Honestly, not much. I was considering really changing it up today and doing one of my old superset style arm workouts. Because I've done arms in a variety of ways, right? I've done, like I just did today, all of triceps first, and then all the biceps. Tried and true method, solid. I've done alternating every set in like supersetting. So I would have done, in that instance, it would have been like a set of press downs or rope push downs or whatever else I was doing for triceps, and then immediately go jump and do a set of heavy curls. Because apart from maybe being like a little bit out of breath from that set of push downs, your biceps aren't fatigued at all, right? So if you're really in a pinch for time, like if I only had, you know, 40 minutes to hit arms, that was just my allotted time, then I had to roll for whatever reason, then that would be my go-to method, right? Uh, but I kind of feel like you can't, like I like the individual attention that I give each muscle at a time, right? Where I do all the triceps first, it's got my complete attention, and then I move on to all the biceps. But either way, as long as you go hard, shit's gonna work. It should stimulate some growth. Another method's kind of an in-between, where I would do maybe 3 sets of triceps, and then 3 sets of biceps, and three's almost doing like giving each muscle a little bit of rest in between the workout. Which, I mean, that's pretty good too, As long as at the end of the lift, you've done your, 8 to your 8 to 12 sets, per body part that you're trying to hit. The order of your workout, it shouldn't matter too much, but lately I have been, kind of preferring to just do one at a time. It just kind of makes sense to me, you know. Like, I always find it a little bit strange. This is going off on a little bit of a tangent. I'll see people's leg days, and for the most part, quads. Everybody thrashes quads if they actually go and do legs, leg extensions, leg press, squats. The whole deal. Their leg workout is decent, right? But all they do is like they throw maybe 3 or 4 sets of hamstring curls right in the middle, and at best, maybe 5 sets of calves at the end. Typically probably never doing calves. Right? Whereas, I mean, for me, I like to just start with hamstrings, kind of get them out of the way, and they've got my full attention, and I hit them with the same volume as I would for quads, right? Obviously, it's not as intense because your hamstrings just aren't as big and taxing as a muscle as your quads, right? You're gonna be way more out of breath after 3 sets of squats, or 3 crazy sets of leg extensions than you should be after 3 sets of hamstring curls. Uh, Generally speaking, depends on how crazy you are. But yeah, I just feel like giving each muscle its own allotted time to just fucking focus on it 100%. That's what I like. That is my preferred training style. So, fuck. I'm trying to think of something else. I'm trying to think of something else to freaking discuss. Um, the jug today was just Gatorade powder. For the most part, as long as you're drinking something intra workout, presumably with, I would say with some electrolytes is going to be the most important ingredient. But maybe get like some aminos in there too. It's not going to hurt you. Uh, I find it a little bit strange when people sip on their pre-workout throughout the lift. Like, it's a pre-workout. It's not your intro workout. Whatever. Now I'm just really rambling. Now I'm really rambling. So, blah, 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 blah. I think I'm gonna set up. I think I'll probably do an Instagram Q&A soon. Soon-ish. And full day of eating is going to happen. I guarantee it. I swear you can hold me to it that it will happen eventually. Sooner than later. Obviously, we're getting close to the end of this bulk. It's kind of getting really hard for me to put on any more weight. Kind of just legit plateaued. I'm not plateaued per se. Like, I know the cause. It's just fucking getting hard for me to eat a lot of food. That's kind of why I like to do a dieting phase in between, sort of just as a break, because the beginning of any like the beginning of your bulk or the beginning of your cut is the easiest. It's the most comfortable. The beginning of the bulk, presuming that you actually did a reasonable dieting phase, is going to be fucking easy to just scarf down food. Like, I think the first day that I stopped dieting in the summer, um, or no, it was in the winter. Yeah, what am I talking about? In the winter. Uh, I'm gonna have to look back at my little macro tracker, but I had like 9,000 calories one day. I'm kind of I sort of just jump right into it. I don't really gradually phase in and out, but it was just super easy for me to eat that much food because my body was ready for it. Totally depleted. It's just like it's just itching to get as many calories in as possible. That's why dieting's so hard because you gotta fight that instinct, that urge. But if you go without food for a while, or without a lot of food, then it's easy to eat a ton. And then the opposite is also true, right? Like my first few weeks of dieting after this bulk are gonna be super easy, right? Just because I am sick of food. I'm fucking sick of it. I'm still gonna eat it. I'm like, there's a bunch of smoke over there, weird. But yeah. So Gonna keep scarfing it down. Maybe get just a teensy bit heavier. Then we can jump into the cut, which should be rather freaky. Peak cut. I'm excited. I'm getting excited just thinking about it. I probably shouldn't, just so I can make sure I maintain my motivation for the bulk. But I can't help myself. So, legs tomorrow, cardio in the morning. Perfect scenario. I will see you freaking next time. Do your cardio, you fucking asshole.